watching Political Conversations.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Political Conversations on Freedom Square TV. Of course, this is a program where we examine government policies, public administration, development initiatives, and issues that is, of course, shaping our democracy. And today we will be looking at a critical sector of our economy, agriculture. Of course, agriculture has always been the backbone of Nigeria's economy. For the discovery of crude oil, agriculture contributed over 60% of Nigeria's GDP and accounted for the majority of our export earnings. From cocoa in the southwest, nuts in the north, palm produce in the southeast, cotton, rubber, and cashew, Nigeria was once regarded as one of Africa's agricultural giants. And you begin to ask what has happened. Unfortunately, over the years, dependency on oil pushed agriculture into the background. Today, Nigeria still imports food worth billions of dollars annually, despite possessing over 70 million hectares of arable farmland. However, there is a renewed national conversation around agriculture, not merely as farming, but as an industrial enterprise capable of creating jobs, generating exports, and reducing poverty and driving economic growth. That brings us to today's discussion: agro-industrialization and export value addition in Enugu State. Because Enugu State has taken a quantum leap into agriculture and is determined to ensure that agriculture takes its pride of place in Enugu State. And so we ask exactly, what does agro-industrialization mean? Such a big, highfalutin word. Why should agricultural products be processed before export? Can agriculture, in honesty, become the new oil for Enugu State? How is the present administration under Peter Mbah positioning Enugu to compete globally? To answer these and many more questions, our guest is the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture and Agro-Industrialization in Enugu State, Honorable Patrick Mobeze Ubru, PhD. Doc, good evening and welcome to Political Conversations.
Thank you, Cyril, and thank you for having me once again. I think this is my second time here in your studio. And our listeners, good evening.
Okay, it's good to say that this is your second time, because one, you are one of those commissioners who certainly is not afraid of embracing the clear lights. The truth is that when these lights come on, a lot of people develop cold feet. But there are one person, not because you are here, but because I watched it in other fora, and discover that you find it convenient to talk about government activities. And perhaps maybe you have something to talk about. But you know, they say you don't throw stone on a tree that is not bearing fruit. So you don't go to the mass media to begin to talk when basically you have nothing to talk about. Well, 21st of July was just a couple of days ago. And virtually all the media in this Enugu and Southeast, the social media, they were awash with an event that took place at Okpara Square. I watched it myself. I kind of covered it. But since you are here, let me not say what happened. So you tell our viewers what actually happened on the 21st of this month at Okpara Square. Yeah, in Enugu.
Thank you. On the 21st of July 2026 was the third consecutive free input distribution that His Excellency the Governor of Enugu State have extended to our farmers. Basically, the mandate or the vision of the state on agriculture is very clear. I was happy when you were talking about when agriculture, with our glory days in agriculture,
Yes,
pre the advent of oil, the discovery of oil in 1970, how agriculture has supported the GDP of Nigeria, provide job for teeming population of Nigeria to a tone of like 60% of the economy then. And I was also particularly happy when in the list of crops that contributed to that economic growth that you have listed here, oil palm and cashew is in your list, which is one of the crops that we as Southeasterners always pride of. You understand? And then proceeds from such crops, from the dealings of such crops, locally and internationally were used to develop a lot of projects, inclusive of the University of Nigeria, the popular University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and a whole lot of other industrial, zones and companies. You understand? Okay, let me just mention, like the United Palm Produce of Enugu State, United Palm Produce Limited, Enugu State, was also developed then by the then southeastern government, and the Akamoye cashew belt, the plantation was also developed with the ever oil and a whole lot of industrial sites in Enugu, and Enugu was earning, or the southeastern Nigeria then,
As it was then.
You understand? And come to think of what happened last Tuesday, it is just the government deliberately trying to take back our glory days in agriculture, trying to rehabilitate, revitalize those assets, those alien assets of Enugu State. For instance, the EUPPL, which has been privatized. We have a PPP arrangement between Pragmatic Palm and Enugu State, and it's doing pretty well. Currently, we're already producing palm oil. We're already replacing the aged trees that are older than like 45 years, 50 years and above, and we're replanting them with improved varieties of oil palm seedlings. And you can see, if you go around the town, you see the billboards. Not only seeing billboards, you see the oils on the shelves of Enugu, the stores in Enugu. After I consume that oil in my house, and I hope you're able to get a liter the other time you visited.
Yes,
that is now. And the deliberate effort of the government is, you see, in 2024, we distributed about 12,000 bags of fertilizer free of charge. That was like a test run. In 2025, we upped it up to 40,000 and more. Then 2026, the governor is stretching it. We're above 63,000. Just yesterday, he has told me that more inputs, more fertilizers will be distributed to our farmers to expand the distribution to about maybe 80 to 90,000 farmers. Granted, some 5% of the indigenous of Enugu State are farmers. So what it means is if Enugu is adjudged to be up to like 6.5 to 7 million people, just evaluate or do your calculation to get about 75% of it. That's the number of farmers that this government is intending to reach before 2031. Now, you asked the question, why agro-industrialization?
Yes.
Before the governor took over the saddle of leadership in 2023, the ministry used to be a Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources.
Yes.
But because we cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results, now that even the oil prices are now falling, and states, subnationals, are now looking inwardly to see how they can generate more income to meet the social needs. Because the social needs are so enlarged that the receipts from the federal and the IGR cannot. But you have to just shun out the IGR. And the governor felt that for us to do that, we need to add value to agricultural produce. And in adding value to agricultural produce is industrializing the system, utilizing the entire value chain in agricultural value chain or in agricultural sector. You understand? For instance, let's say, we produce cassava. You produce cassava, you sell cassava at its raw stage. You make little or no money. But by the time you process it towards the value, the byproducts, which in excess of 32 byproducts, up to biorefining of cassava, you see the amount of money that will be made in Enugu State. And that's where we are going. For instance, the state also has keyed into the cassava to bioethanol value chain development, up to biorefining. But it's one step at a time. The first thing you need to do is to expand production of cassava so that you can have the raw materials everywhere and also attract investors to come into Enugu and invest in refining biofuel. And that's why you see the governor deliberately 2023, 2024, 2025, and now 2026 distributing improved varieties of seedlings. Cassava primarily. There was cassava, rice, maize, sorghum. Now we have introduced vegetable, pepper, tomatoes to ensure that we expand the production, the primary production of agricultural crops. That will now engender the industrialization. Before you talk about industrial revolution. We talk about the agricultural revolution. So he's deliberately causing a revolution in the agricultural sector to ensure, to ignite the industrial revolution. You understand? And you can see that his vision on making Enugu State the primary destination of investment is coming to pass. Farming agricultural sector, ensuring that every aspect of the agricultural sector is being, attended to. Is it in the livestock? Enugu State is doing a one-stop shop for livestock development. Where we will be having in a particular place 15,000 heads of cattle, and other value chain like the poultry, the piggery, the goatry, the sheep, and the whole lot of them, and also producing the feedlots. You get. So that is that on livestock. If you come to oil palm, like I've mentioned, then you see now the integrated agriculture in the rehabilitation of the Enugu Tribu Songhai Farm Limited at Eziago, where even the governor is turning that farm into a tourist center, to where we marry agriculture and tourism. These are sites that you need to visit. Like I told you, this is my second time here, because this government is not a government that maybe you do one thing, you run to the media. Yes. The government is go and verify, go and find out on yourself what the government is doing. And I'm so happy that even institutions, interested investors, individuals are also trying to find out what His Excellency is doing. Then if you come to smart agriculture, smart farming, the introduction of the Enugu State Anchor Greenhouse cluster model, you see where the governor is encouraging the youths to come into agriculture by fabrication of greenhouses and deployment of all the necessary materials that will make our production.
Commissioner, before you take me off my tangent,
so there's a lot.
I go back to Opera Square.
There's a lot
on 21st.
Okay.
I saw what looked like a pyramid of materials.
Yeah.
Now, who benefited from it that day? Was it distributed that day, or is distribution still ongoing? What actually happened?
Yes, that day on 21st was a flag off, presided over by His Excellency, telling the Enugu for this year, my interventions have started. Okay. Few words, because all our development projects touches words, people at the word level. So we have 260 words. So the 260 words, farmers in 260 words will benefit. The farmers, the beneficiaries are drawn across the 260 words. You get, so nobody gets, because food or hunger does not know this word, so it has to be evenly done. Okay. So some words benefited that day, they received, because it is properly planned. Now we have started moving the fertilizers, the other planting materials to the various local governments for onward distribution to the various wards. Okay. It has already started. You will see big trucks moving here and there, heavy trucks moving fertilizers, moving rice seed, moving maize seed, moving tomato seeds and pepper seeds, and moving cassava cuttings. You understand? Everywhere. Moving chemicals, both organic fertilizer, inorganic fertilizer, both bio NPK, because the state is trying to balance up the application of chemicals to ensure also that we rejuvenate our soil. So that's exactly what is happening. Okay. So distribution is ongoing.
And we do hope that when it gets to the local governments, how will we monitor its effective?
Definitely. If you hear our jingles, you see to registered farmers. So we have farmers that are registered with the ministry, that we have identified who they are, we have identified the place where they do their cultivation, we have identified their ward, we have profiled them, we have their phone number, we have their NIN. Definitely no two individual have the same NIN. It's your own. So by the time we trace you to your NIN, then you give. And every farmer will receive a message, an SMS, listing the
what of those who are without telephones?
No, obviously.
There's some farmers now they don't have that.
Now all the farmers we are profiling, they have telephone.
Okay.
And it's easy now. It's not like those days that you can hardly find a family without telephone in Nigeria. You understand? So we shouldn't, we should not give credit to things that are not worthy. We should be able to clap ourselves that every family in Nigeria, there's no family that are not without phone. If there are, it's just infinitesimal. Do you get my point? So the farmers, we have profiled farmers according to their ward, in line with the distribution pattern. Okay. So every farmer will get an SMS, and we have our agents in every local government verifying those farmers. Apart from just registering you, we are still at the point of distribution. Verify, ensuring yes that the message you got, by the time we key it into our system, that it matches it, and you get your input. And again, the good news is that His Excellency branded the entire input not to be sold. So it's not difficult for you to sell. If you want to sell, they have to remove it from the bag. And you know when you remove it from the bag, it has lost value. You get my point. So, but then we're also working with the security operatives to ensure, like we're working with the DSS, to also ensure that they monitor. You understand? To make sure that these farmers do not sell them. Because if they sell them, the essence of it will be lost. You understand? But as long as you are using it on the soil of Enugu State, we're going to have bumper harvest.
Okay. One of the things that this government has said and repeated is about its intention to transform agriculture into a major contributor to the state's economy through commercial farming, mechanization,
Yes.
agro-processing, and export development. And so, this making Enugu a $30 billion economy. I know agriculture is playing a very important, pivotal role in that. So the question is, what space, beyond what you've said, which agricultural value chains are receiving priority attention right now?
Thank you very much. Agricultural sector will be responsible for 40% of this target of taking the Enugu economy to 30 billion.
That's a
economy.
dollar.
So we're talking about $12 billion. You understand? And you ask of the specific crop. Oil palm alone is a money spiller. Cashew value chain is a money spiller. Cassava value chain is a money spiller. The rice that we produce, we have various rice belts. Before the His Excellency's administration, we only have about 1.8 metric tons per hectare. But now, we are achieving 5.4 metric tons per hectare. You understand? Let us be economical about it. We will just say, yes, in Enugu that we do 4.0 metric tons per hectare. You understand? That's a quantum leap from where we are coming from. And this is achievable. How do you calculate the GDP? The number of employment that is created, the money in circulation. You also look at the investments in that particular economy. And you will agree with me. With what is happening in agriculture, it's going to aid tourism, it's going to aid other industries, even in transportation, because we must move the agricultural produce from one point to another.
Yes, in the positive language. If asked me today, which of these products have begun to?
I have mentioned oil palm, and I have told you.
Will.
That is.
That's the point.
I told you that is. That's why I said that if you go to the shelves, you will see Evop oil.
Okay.
You understand? That is just one byproduct of oil palm.
Enugu State.
Enugu State, exactly, vegetable oil production limited.
Okay.
Evop. You understand? A product of Enugu State United Palm Product Limited. You understand? That is one. You see Enugu rice. You see Enugu gari. You understand? All these things are things that are already, beginning to come out. But like I said, it is one step to another. We are now turning our cassavas to gari and starch. The next is when we now have the plants to refine the cassava to biofuel. You get my point? And this is what brings investment into Enugu State. Just last week, that's 2 weeks ago, I commissioned a project at Agribusiness. You understand? Young men who has fallen into the vision of His Excellency of not allowing our young men, youths to japa, has developed a 2.5 metric ton of cassava processing plant, all powered with solar. You need to visit that factory. You understand? That is not all. Now you talked about how we can commercialize agriculture.
Yes.
If you go, I think you also are aware of the Enugu Produce City with our collaboration with Ubru. In that particular location, we are having 450 hectares of cassava, and is extending it to 1,000 hectares this year. That same Enugu Produce City has also bettered a processing plant that processes the cassava into gari and starch. And you know the amount of job that has been created there. Then now come to the game-changing project of His Excellency, the farm estate. His Excellency said, we take agriculture away from subsistence, you understand, into business. Where in every farm estate, we allot 1 hectare to a smallholder farmer. That is no longer subsistence farming. Do you understand?
That's the mechanization.
That is no longer subsistence farming. That is even commercial. Because no household will cultivate on 1 hectare and consume the entire produce from 1 hectare. It must sell to the market. You understand? And the farm estate is a one-stop shop where investors, where anchors, where those who off-takers can come and say, yes, I'm coming to a farm estate because farm estates are crop specific. I'm coming to this farm estate that produces rice. I'm coming to off-take X, Y, Z tons of rice. Do you get what I'm saying? So
yes.
you are gradually commercializing our agricultural sector. And you heard His Excellency loud and clear that there is no going back. That even more money will be spent on agriculture. This is fulfilling his manifesto pre-election.
Yes. Private investors. What incentives do you have for them? And how many investors do you now have in Enugu State who have keyed into this, apart from Ubru and Namamo?
Now we have an investor that we are collaborating with in the development and rehabilitation of the Enugu Tribu Songhai Limited. That is a project that will cost in the first instance about 22 billion. Over 6 billion has been spent there. That's the private investment. The EUPPL I mentioned, that's a private investment. Apart from that, you talked about incentives.
Yes.
We have Enugu State Land Bank making access to land easy for investors. It's an incentive. Instead of investors coming to look for land or to buy land, you come and the state will allocate land to you. You understand? In line with our land bank policies approved by His Excellency. The government is doing 600 kilometers of roads across the local government to give access to all our farm locations. Then you now talk about storage. It is by the time you finish production, the next thing now you begin to now say, okay, let me build silos, warehouses. Don't also forget that part of our farm estate project is a central warehouse where all the harvest will first of all be warehoused and some processed. For instance, cassava, if you harvest cassava now, you need to process it first because after 24 hours, begin to lose its value. You get my point? So all the farm estates have warehouse. But now, from next year, we begin to talk about building silos. Because I know by then we had conquered, we would be self-sufficient, you understand, in terms of our agricultural produce. Because the vision is to make sure that the Enugu people, nobody in Enugu goes home hungry, and then to become a major player in agricultural sector as far as Nigeria is concerned, and then to export our agricultural produce outside this country and earn foreign currencies.
Somebody had asked me when he saw the promo for this program to ask the Honorable Commissioner that at the reception when you took over, or even the government's manifesto, there was this issue of having map farms in 160 wards.
Definitely, that's the farm estate I'm talking
Now
about.
they're now asking what is the success story.
Yes, it's succeeding. And I want people to understand that.
Can you put a figure to
Yes, I want us to understand that when we say we want to develop farm estates, these things are capital intensive. But government have started clearing, because first of all, you have to clear the land, clear 200 hectares. I'm talking about 52,000 hectares across the 260 wards. If you go to above is near completion. If you go to above is near
that was the one we visited.
You visited above. And you are not talking. If you go to Umabi, the clearing in Umabi farm estate has gone, advanced stage. If you go to somewhere in Igbeze North, you see, yes, we have started clearing the farm estate. If you go to Owo, we have done over 75% clearing in Owo. In short, in Owo, the Enugu Anchor Greenhouse cluster model is already deploying their greenhouse in Owo. Because part of the program is that 50 greenhouses will be deployed across, 50 each will be deployed. We're talking about 13,000 greenhouses across the 260 wards. You understand? Serial, these things are not what you see. Just try to try to visit these locations we're talking about. You understand?
Okay.
You don't convince when you see them and touch them, so you know that
it
is believing.
Okay. Many Nigerian products fail export standards. In our attempts to export, we discovered that as soon as they cross our shores, they fall short of the international standards. So how is Enugu preparing farmers to meet international quality requirements? Because it's very, very key.
Fantastic. You know, this thing starts from even when you start to do your clearing of your land, when you start to prepare the land. What substances are you using to prepare your land? When you start to plant, what kind of seed are you planting? Are you using chemicals? Are you using organic? You know, production is of two types: either demand-driven production or supply-driven production. So what we're talking about is when you don't use harmful substances in growing our crops. As it starts from there. Then you now also move into educating the farmers to meet with the certifications, to meet with the processing standards. But there are processing standards that are already laid down that we must follow. So apart from the fact that we monitor, yes, that's what we call the traceability, to trace your production process, to ensure, yes, that there is no substance which will trigger, you understand, that rejection of our produce. As a state, we are deliberate about what we are doing. That's why I talked about the introduction of the biofertilizer, the use of biofertilizer, use of biomaterials to, cultivate. Because in the old days, what we do is that both the grasses we get from clearing, we decide to, either you bury them, allow them to, to ferment, to turn to manure, you use them again. You understand? Or you use waste from animals, So now we are trying to see how we can reduce the use of inorganic materials. To use more of organic materials so that our agricultural produce will be accepted. But there are a lot of work needs to be done.
Okay, when we did a tour, the Public Affairs Analyst of Nigeria did a tour, we visited the tractor assembly plant.
Yes.
At the Nigeria. And then we saw very brand new tractors. And there was this understanding that more will come and that will be turn the place into an assembling plant.
Yes.
How far would that
Yes, we have concluded the setting up of the assembly plant.
And you are farmers getting these tractors?
Yes, farmers have already started hiring the tractors. The tractors are being hired on a subsidized rate. So farmers are already using it.
Now that I'm starting farming.
Just come to the ministry, put up your application. I will approve your own tractor. I will approve it. Then you go and make small payment to the IGR and go and take tractor. I know the tractors are tracked. You understand? So any farmer who need tractor have access to it. Don't put up your application. Commissioner will approve it.
You understand? I'm sure somebody want to know how expensive or inexpensive.
No. It's subsidized away from the commercial rate. It's subsidized.
What's the commercial rate? What's your subsidy?
Way below the commercial rate. I think the commercial rate is about 150. We're doing like 70. You understand? We're doing like 70.
Okay. You've spoken well, but there's one thing that is important in all these. Like, how many jobs can this sector create for the Enugu?
For the farm estate, our target is to create over 256,000 jobs.
How many have you created now?
Now, we have. Let me also start by the trainings with the young farmers. We have trained 25,000 young youths, and it's expected in our training model. It's expected that each farmer will employ at least 2 persons. At least 2 persons. So if we have done 25,000, that means we expect that 75,000 jobs have been created. That is just on training the youths. Now, you also look at a situation where we have reached out, we have intervened to over 40,000 farmers. That is job created. That is also, or you say job enhanced.
Yeah, job enhanced.
You understand? Because obviously, the farmer will buy 1 or 2 things from the market. That is indirect job. People are, being employed. Do you get my point? So if you ask me on an economic scale, I'll say we have created over 100,000 jobs.
Traceable jobs?
Traceable jobs. What I say traceable.
I have just given you jobs.
No, I have just given you a simple analogy.
Okay.
You understand? Let us go by the people we already trained that have plugged themselves into the agricultural sector. We have the chairman, the president of the Young Farmers Association. The other day I saw him, cruising with a brand new car. You understand? And it's not far-fetched. He's into agriculture. Agriculture, like you rightly stated, is going to be the new oil. Not even that is going to be new oil, is the new oil.
Is the agriculture
Is the new oil
in Enugu State?
in Enugu State and in Nigeria.
Okay, let's talk about you talk about their successes. Let's talk about their challenges. Because there's no way you achieve all this success without one or two challenges. So what are the biggest obstacles facing agriculture today in
Now,
Enugu State?
The biggest challenge facing agriculture in Enugu State is some people who feel that we should continue to do the same thing and expect a fair result. Those who do not want to follow the planning, the deliberate action of the governor to document our farmers, to know the interventions we are given to our farmers and trace the outcome. Because when you impute, what we are giving is an input we are giving to them. There should be an output and there should be an outcome. We will be able to evaluate it. So getting our people to understand that fact, that we must do things differently. Do you get my point? In terms of, we say, come and register farmers. Some people are saying, the one we registered before, how far? This is a different government for crying out loud. You understand? We have a new sheriff. We have a man who is decent. You understand? Who also is bent on ensuring that the right things are done. That's our greatest challenge. I'm not talking, the community people are freely giving out community lands. I would have mentioned that as a challenge. No, they're freely giving out community lands. We only have one or few places where people say, no agree. You understand? Maybe those who have gone behind to, do one or two things with community land. And they say government coming to bring development to their place. And they're raising, whether I don't want to mention because to say maybe it's politics or no. Because what we are doing, does not know, hunger does not know whether you are APC, PDP or whatever. You understand? And the governor is approaching agriculture in that light. That our people must be fed. We must do the right thing. You understand? We must have a modern livestock value chain. You understand? We must have an integrated farming system. You understand? We must rehabilitate all our modern assets that EU people has created. You can imagine the number of jobs that Enugu Tribu Songhai Farm Limited has created. You can imagine such thing. You can imagine the job created at Ugwanama Produce City. You can imagine that job. You can imagine the job go to Aman. Now that construction is going on, you can imagine the number of jobs that is being created there.
Okay, I don't know whether it's still happening. Insecurity or insecurity? Insecurity. How far has this affected the ministry?
Okay, thank you. We should not be talking about how far has our ministry now enjoyed the security architecture of this present government, that we are now telling you that we have bumper harvest in 2025. Because if we had all run away from the farm, there will not be production. So it's the other way around. Yes, we are not saying that there are no insecurity cases, but has it been reduced? Is there a departure from what it used to be before this government came on board? And now there is a departure, a huge departure. Now our farmers can go to farm. If you go to look, I come from Uzuwani. You understand? We can tell you what the governor did to stamp out insecurity in my local government, and people freely go to farm. That does not mean that we don't have one or two issues, but it is now minimized. You understand? And hopefully there will be a total eradication of such occurrences.
Okay.
The same thing is happening in other places. But like I said, we will not rule out there are no crazy, but then we no longer hear of this killing or dog killing like it used to be before the emergence of His Excellency Dr. Peter Ndubuisiimba as governor of Enugu State. And again, the body of mention, anywhere you go in the rural community, you see the DRS vehicle.
Okay.
You see the forest guard people, very active and agile. In all our farms, forest guards have been deployed. Yes. Every of our farm, you see forest guard men there deployed in our farm.
That's quite interesting, and that's good to know. I think I should ask you your vision, the vision of Enugu State government for agriculture in the next 5 years.
Obviously, Enugu will be the production site of every agricultural primary products. One, Enugu will also be a hub for industrialization, because you know that most investors site their industry where the raw material, near to raw material locations. That's what I see Enugu. Seeing Enugu as a thriving economic hub for Nigeria.
That's a tall order. And what's your message for the young people who are still reluctant to embrace agriculture?
Well, I may agree with you slightly, not totally, that the young people in Enugu State are reluctant.
Except for those who are still reluctant.
Fine. It is now for them to see that the only way you can survive and become a big boy in Enugu is you're into agriculture. The evidences are there. You understand? And the fact is the adoption of greenhouse farming leave you with no excuse of getting involved in agriculture. Say maybe how will I go to this far distance or do this or do that, carry on. No. You can go into greenhouse farming. You can do other, farming practices that doesn't even take you away from your environment. You understand? You can begin to now raise seedlings. You can play into any value chain as a young man. The young boys I talked about commissioning their project at Agribusiness. Very young boys.
That's a matter
very young boys that are below 40 years. They're not up to 35 years. Putting up that factory, all powered with solar energy, using Gary starch.
Do you have enough customers or clients?
You are talking about what you should ask if they have enough raw materials, and that is why they have gone there to site it, because cassava is everywhere now in Enugu. You get my point? So having enough market is now a different ball game. You understand? That's another aspect of agriculture. That's not the tertiary product side part of it. You understand? We have primary, have secondary, have tertiary, and quaternary, aspect of it. You understand? Look about producing it, adding value to it. Talk about the market, the packaging and branding. Talk about the marketing.
You at the beginning you talked about how you started, and it's covered in 2026. There's a quantum leap in the products and materials we are distributing.
Definitely, because of the interest of the Enugu has increased because of the type of leadership they are seeing.
That's their own word. The word out there is that it's for politics. That because this is coming to an election year, that you have, well, it's still the beliefs of Enugu, but they say it's politically driven.
Okay, was it politically driven when we moved from 12,000 to 40,000? When we moved from, look at the percentage increase, from 12,000 to 40,000. Now we're moving from 40,000 to 63,000.
And you said the government just
my brother
said there will be an addition.
There will be an addition. My brother, just look at it critically. You understand? Look at it and see whether it is politics. But food hunger does not know politics. That's the truth of the matter. The fact is that the governor is keeping to his promise. This is the man that says a thing and try to fulfill what he has said. He make a promise. Look at all the promises he has made. How he's trying to fulfill all of them. Almost at the same time, and you begin to wonder, where is he getting these funds from? The sacrifices that he's making.
The fund is no longer a problem.
You understand? Because he has agreed to sacrifice.
And join the center. The fund is no longer a problem.
Apart from joining the center, you also need somebody who has the right faculty, the right organizational sense. You understand? To organize its spending. That is it. And you see the way he attends to all sectors. No sector is suffering. You get my point?
Okay, it will appear that you are just at home with the ministry, and something that I usually do. I want you to actually look at the camera and talk to your governor. Either appreciate him or ask for more more support for the ministry.
Yes, Oliver Twist always want for some more, and the promise he made to Enugu, which yes, is an ongoing, is a going concern, and he has not failed any each year, and we just say he should keep it up. God should strengthen him, and again we pray also that there will be more money. He has promised us that come next year we won't have more spending to make, more things to put on ground. One, he wants the agricultural sector to be less laborious, wants to introduce machines, which is already done through the tractor. But there are other machines that I need, which he has also promised that he's going to meet, like the combined harvesters that he's also planning to buy for the rice value chain, and other equipment. You understand? So the only thing I will tell this governor is that for us in the Ministry of Agriculture, yes, our activities cover over 75% of the indigents. So you see that the people need him more. Yeah, I just keep up the good work. You understand? You shouldn't, relent. And obviously, come 2027, the farmers will always pay him back. That's as an assurance. The farmers pay him back.
Okay, I think that's a good point to end this conversation. The farmers will pay him back for all the things he has done for them.
Yes.
And from this program, I've learned from the Honorable Commissioner that agriculture is no longer backhoes and cutlasses in Enugu State.
Yes.
And even around the world, agriculture has become a business powered by innovation, technology, processing, branding, and exports. And the Enugu State is quite there.
Ready, yeah.
So, Honorable Commissioner, I want to say thank you very much for
Thank you for having me.
Maybe before long we'll call you again for another interesting edition.
Thank you.
Thank you, and to our viewers, join us same time, of course, next week, another interesting edition. Have a lovely day ahead of you.